We say a very big welcome to all our viewers across Nigeria, across the world, across Africa.
Why are you sounding demure? I don't understand.
I am demure.
Wow.
I cannot explain my demureness.
Oh, I think it's the hair.
No. How is this hair demure?
I don't know.
This is how African women used to look. We do not go this way because this is us. Yes, this is who we are as a people. We identify with our identity. We're not ashamed of it.
Yes.
Was I not the one that had to do my hair for 2 weeks?
Even though I said, I always do this after I've seen Tolu do those all backs.
Yes.
You know, she makes me feel as if I can do anything. And my hair cannot be compared. She has very full. She has edges.
She doesn't allow us here. Don't say, oh, you know my edges. I don't.
Yeah, I don't play with it.
It's either from.
Yeah.
It's either she's talking about her skin.
Yeah, her skincare that she spends a lot of money. But I am a testifier to Tolu's change of skin, because I do know now. It shows me that if you do care for your skin, you will get better results.
I think if you care for any part of your body,
like working out. Maybe my stomach will go down. I won't need BBL.
Is it BBL or mommy makeover?
Oh, mommy makeover.
Mommy makeover.
If you had the chance to do BBL, would you do it?
No, not BBL, but I'll do tummy talk.
Tummy talk.
And maybe a lift of the babies.
Lift or reducing?
The babies.
Lift of the ladies.
Lift of the ladies or
Yes.
making the ladies smaller?
No, I just lift them.
No, I want to lift them smaller. Well, how are we? If you don't know, you don't know.
Listen, there's a way we start the show. There's a way we plan to start the show.
Yeah, but it never always goes the same way.
Let's come back with, wait. Okay, let's go back to the hair first.
Yeah.
So does this hair come with attitude? Does it have a name?
I remember, do you remember Orishabumi?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch it? She had a lot of shukus.
Yes,
and these
and
variations of shuku that you now, adorn it with cowries and everything. People just used to think it was fetish. It's now that if anybody has seen your hair in the early years, they say,
probably,
yeah, Shango worshiper. I'm not sure worshiper, but
it's just a part of us.
It's just a part of us.
And I think then, in those days, in the age of our mothers, grandmothers, it wasn't such a big deal.
No, they had full hair. They had not tainted their hair.
My mom still does shuku. You're not be seeing the gray.
The shuku. I love it. But do you know that we really did a lot of disservice to our hair? A lot of us, our African hair. We didn't know better. Our mothers, my mom had full hair all her life.
And nothing they were doing special.
No.
They were just
they just threaded their hair, they wove their hair, and they had no chemicals. But of course, when they told us, we could stretch our hair, and we could do this, we could do that with it, that was how our brain, the chemicals of our brain mixed with the chemicals of all the relaxers.
No, but she's not actually lying. So there's so much more research now that has come out that's talking about the effects of chemicals of relaxers on African American women. Yep. Some of it being linked to fibroids, some of it being linked to increased cases of PCOS. There are just so many questions, hormonal imbalance, and I think it's something we really need to talk about. I even saw research this past week that talked about the fibers that we use for braiding, and I know braiding hair has come a long way. So I'm trying to find out: are you talking about the old ones that were like rubber that we used to burn, or are you talking about the new ones that we use now? So people just have to take a lot more responsibility to research what is in front of them. But we're going to come back to this conversation on Lola being her hair or not being her hair, because when I change hair, it comes with attitude.
Of course it does.
No, you know,
I've not met Reina.
Let's not go there because every hair to
Reina is with the red hair. Her red hair comes out.
It's not a today thing. It's followed Tolu since childhood.
But I'm not the only one. Women feel like that. Once you have a new hairstyle, you know, sometimes you buy clothes in the middle of a hairstyle, right? Yeah. And then you're like, no, I need to wait. There's a hairstyle. It's like an armor.
It's very feminine.
It's very feminine. But we are able to start on a bit of a cheerful note, and unfortunately what we're going into is not that, because as Catherine said, there's a way you want to start the show, and then there's the way you actually start the show because of life's realities. And today happens to be one of those days. We start with some devastating breaking news that's coming in from Lagos. Now, a two-story building located at Mega Mall Estate, Mobile Road, Inikpa, Aja, Lagos has collapsed, with reports that at least 2 people are dead and several others still trapped in the rubble. Now, the controller, Southwest Office of the National Emergency Management Authority, NEMA, Ibrahim Fariloye, who confirmed the incident, said the bodies of 1 adult and 1 teenage boy were recovered and 5 adults have been rescued. Now, these are images from earlier today, but we had Bernard Akede, News Central correspondent, on the scene earlier, and he's still around the vicinity, and he's going to give us the latest. Bernard, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tolu, and all the ladies from Jasiri. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know this is not how many of us wanted to start a Wednesday morning, but unfortunately the situation has yet another collapsed building. For Lagos, I'd say this is probably the first of the year. It won't be the last. So Bernard, can you tell us what the update is? The last report we have is that 2 bodies were recovered and 5 people were rescued. Have these numbers changed at all? What's the latest?
Well, to be honest, Tolu, it's going to be very difficult to get any. As a matter of fact, it has been difficult to get any information. I spoke to you earlier off camera that we were asked to leave the estate premises, and that's why we're outside now taking these shots that you can see. The information you have is also what I got earlier, saying about 7 people were pulled out of the rubble, 5 have been taken to the hospital, and 2, unfortunately, casualties who have passed away. However, the people we met there at the site of the collapse said it's possible that there could still be some more bodies under the rubble. As a matter of fact, if you see the images, and I'll see if we can actually show some of them while we're here. We're able to record some, so while I'm speaking to you, let's see if I can still roll some of those images. The rubble there, I'm informed that we may not be able to transfer those clips, but eventually we will have them. So because of that, it's difficult to confirm. As some of the people there said, it's possible that there may still be some bodies underneath the rubble. We cannot confirm that, but we know that it was difficult getting here, first of all, because the information that was put out on social media was not exactly accurate. Some of the information we got was saying it was a Chevron Drive. Some were saying Aja. I even saw one saying Vulture Estate. I've never heard any place like Vulture Estate before. Eventually, before we were able to get here, and then unfortunately, our live transmission was cut short. Or actually, we were not even allowed to go live by estate management, and that's why we're standing outside here. So again, to answer your question, the information you have is also what I have at hand at the moment. But eyewitnesses who are there say that there's possibility that there may still be some bodies undiscovered under the rubble.
So do you know, so Bernard, thank you for that update. Do we know when the building collapsed? I mean, some reports say it was late yesterday and early this morning. Do you have any specifications regarding that?
It was clear that some excavation work had already happened, which means that the building must have collapsed a lot earlier. And then confirming from eyewitnesses, they said it actually collapsed between 2 and 3 p.m. yesterday. But, one will wonder why the building will collapse that early in the day and information will not get out until late, about 10 p.m. It was around 8 p.m., between 8 and 9 is when I began to, when I started seeing the information on social media and I began to follow up. I was able to meet a lady who chose to be anonymous in the estate. She just drove by and then she recognized that we were from News Central, seeing our mic flag, and she gave us some information. She said it's possible that the estate management were trying to curb whatever information got out. And starting with, that's why the information about the collapse of the building didn't get out until around maybe 7 p.m. yesterday. But that it was between 2 and 3 p.m. that the building actually came crumbling down.
Bernard, I want to know, can you confirm the area now, the real area where this collapse happened, since there were a lot of speculations about the area, where exactly did this happen? Can you give us a location?
All right. I'm told that the estate is called Mega Mount Estate. It's straight down Mobile Road, just before you get to Aja. Okay, somebody seems to recognize the estate.
No,
Mega Mount Estate, just before you get to Aja. I think it's one of the estates controlled by Lekki County Homes, and I'll just have camera operator Albert to pull in if you can see the name right there, Lekki County Homes. But it's Mega Mount Estate. I'm told that's what it's called.
Wow.
I do recognize this area. I know this estate very well, but there seems to be a big developer. I wish we could get on-site visuals of this.
So they're refusing, as you said, they're refusing access.
Of course, they would refuse access.
And in a way, it is, I understand, control access to media or other people, but this is now media. Someone is showing you that they're media. You shouldn't be controlling access at this point. But yes, control access so that you just don't have any people, scavengers, whoever may be just strolling to an accident site. So Ben, can you also give us an idea? So you said earlier that someone said there might be other people trapped in the rubble. This would lead me to ask, who are the agencies on ground that you've been able to confirm? We've had at least a report from NEMA right now. Do we know who else is on ground? Let me tell you, as I'm looking behind you, this does not look like there is an emergency inside this estate. It doesn't look like there's a flurry of activity, that there are agencies on ground. So
and that's
it's
really residential estate.
Yes, it's a residential estate. So do you know who are the agencies on ground right now?
At the time we were there, and I think we stood there for at least 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, possibly. There were no agencies on ground. But from the news I got on social media and what I saw on some of the dailies as at yesterday, they spoke to officials of LASEMA, that's Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, and then you talked about Ibrahim Fariloye from the federal agency. So I want to believe that both of those agencies and maybe the healthcare agency as well may have been here as at yesterday. But as at this morning, from the time we got here, which is about 8 a.m. up until now, you know, I haven't set my eyes on any of the agencies in or around this area, just to confirm what you have said, actually.
Yeah, Bernard, I just wanted to ask, the time you were able to just be on site, were there still rescue
operations or recovery
carried out at that time? Were they still trying?
When we got in, I think all rescue work was suspended. I don't want to say had concluded, because I don't know if they'll be coming back. But as the time we got there, it had been suspended. There was no excavator on ground anymore, no heavy machinery. I was told that the excavators were there yesterday evening up until late at night, and then they had gone. They had dug the area, brought down whatever was still standing from the collapse of that particular two-story building. As a matter of fact, again, when eventually you get to see the clips that we got, it's difficult to believe that it was actually a two-story building. It's been completely leveled. Also, I think worthy of note is the fact that, well, I'm not a building engineer or a construction worker, but from the people who were there, you could hear the lamentation about the materials that were used for the buildings, the kind of metal rods, you know, the kind of concrete that was used. And this is a recurrent decimal. It's a song we've heard time and time again throughout last year from buildings that came crashing down. And then we're beginning to hear it again, you know, today. But again, back to your question, you know, excavation work as at the time we got there up until now has ceased. Nothing else was going on there. Just, you know, people coming in trickles to view what had happened there between yesterday and today.
Please, Bernard, from your observation, is it a building that is still under construction, or was it a completely built building? Because from what I'm looking at, it looked like it was something under construction that is not like a completely built building that had living tenants. What was your observation?
Yeah, so I made that was one of the first questions I asked when I got to the site, and the gentleman who I spoke to said it was a building still under construction, but it had gone as high as roofing stage. So if a two-story building that has gotten to roofing stage comes crashing down, you know the kind of losses that will be recorded there, and that's not even to mention the human lives that sadly have been lost there. So yeah, it was quite a tall building from what I was made to understand. Not entirely complete yet, but two-story building that had gotten to the roofing stage.
All right, Bernard Akeda, thank you so much. In a way, even though this happened yesterday, this is still a developing story. We'll have updates later on. We know you'll also have for us as well. Thank you so much for your time. All right, a few things. I find it really interesting. This is Lagos. Really interesting that a building will collapse, as he said, at the time it did yesterday. And because when I saw the original story, the original story said 1400. And I thought in my mind, is it me that does not remember military time again?
That was
2 o'clock. I Google the 1400. It's 2 o'clock. I said, I was here until I was here late. I did not hear Queen on social media. So it's really making me ask, how was this building collapse kept under wraps until late last night?
You see, the kind of estate, I know this estate very well, and I know the developing company. I know that there must be a lot of damage control that they must be trying to do, maybe for the story not to get out, you know.
But these are people's lives.
This is Lagos, you just said it.
No. For me, what's interesting is that the person who is building this property, the person who is building this house, or this building, the structure, you're using substandard materials.
We don't know as
that now,
okay,
but
so fine.
it's
Because
just
listen, I'm speaking from what Bernard said. Bernard said that, you know,
what he saw,
it's
what he
observed. Decimal. We are always talking about not using substandard
products
to build and to construct. And so my own, if I can take anything away from that, I would say thank God it wasn't like fully completed and people were living there. So, and I think that's a more reason why they haven't made such a big deal, because it was still under construction. And they didn't think it was serious enough.
You know,
any loss of life should be considered serious. And I get what you're saying. Yeah. Because if we're talking about 2 people rescued, an adult and a teenage boy, 2 people dead, and 5, that's 7. But are we sure it's only 7? If it's a building that's under construction, even to roofing stage,
workers in there that they sleep on site.
And I really hope that NEMA is going to give us updates as soon as possible, given that it feels like within.
And I hope that Lagos State will get into this thing and help us to check. At least to be last year we had some person from the Lagos State Development Agency or something in-house with us, and we did talk about some of the regulations. Yes. That they've put new directive, new guidelines that housing and building constructions need to follow. We need to be sure that they followed all these guidelines, and maybe, you know, act of God can happen, unforeseen circumstances, but let it not be due to the negligence,
to human error,
or
to breed,
men,
to substandard
products, things that we can really avoid.
Because we are battling with substandard products.
And there's a lot of construction going on in Lagos. There are sand filling everywhere. They are doing this, they're doing that. So this is if there's any time, we need to focus on following the protocols and doing our due diligence on buildings. It is now.
And it's very Nigerian.
Last comment.
Yeah, it's a very Nigerian thing for us to take that for granted and say, yeah, we know the due diligence, but we never really do it.
Yeah.
Because we always feel that we can cut corners and shut.
All right, ladies, we're going to take a quick time out. So when we come back, we are headed to Abuja. There is protest going on. We'll be joined live by one of News Central's correspondents to find out the latest in Abuja. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back. It's Jasiri you're watching, and we're live on all social media platforms. Before the break, we said there's a protest going on in Abuja. News Central's Amadine is standing by to take us through what that is all about. Amadine, if you can hear us, good morning here from the Jasiri table.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Tolu.
All right, so Amadi, that was Catherine. But go ahead, please take us through what's happening right now. You said you're at the Federal High Court in Abuja, and these are protesters. I can see Revolution Now, so that obviously means it has something to do with Yele Sowore. Please go ahead and fill us in on the details.
Okay, we came earlier and met this crowd outside the Federal High Court. There is a very heavy police presence. If you look behind me, just behind the protesters, you see several police officers. And then come with me. If you also just look, you also see police personnel at the other end. They have refused the protesters to go in, but however, the protesters are adamant that they will not leave here. We try to ask questions, and they said that they are here for 2 cases. We have the case of the Michael Lenin, which is the End Bad Governance protesters, who were also being arraigned. Then we have Omoyele Sowore, who is also in the court right now. We have our reporter Joshua Imarayi, who is inside the courtroom here listening to the hearing from the judge. But let's just speak to 1 or 2 of the protesters. Let's speak to Rex Elanu. Rex, how do you do?
I won't say I'm doing fine, because I can't be fine in a system that impunity has been entrenched as an institution on its own, where an IGP who charged minors for treason because they were asking for good governance, killed peaceful protesters, had the shameless temerity to ask Amnesty International to stop lying about what they did, and National Human Rights Commission reported. And such IG today believes that he has been insulted because she will record him illegal IGP. But you can also, I think Nigerians can all see that he's advertising publicly his illegality and illegitimacy. But the important thing is not even just the IGP, it's the system. We cannot continue in such a system and hope that our future holds the dream of Nigeria we have in our minds. Impunity reigns, there will be no progress. And that is why it is very important for all Nigerians to realize this point, there is no sitting on the fence. It's not allowed. We must all rise up and hold these leaders accountable and responsible at all times. Revolution now.
But Rex, some say the police have done the right thing by taking the case to court. Why are you against this move by the police?
Is there any right thing that the police has done from the inception of the APC in this country? Not even today. The police at itself was set up as a constabulary for the royal business of England. And since then till now, they have just been about guiding the bourgeoisie, the elite class. It has never been about policing Nigerians. What of Okoya's son that was spraying money? Has he been charged to court? The videos flying everywhere with the policemen scaling fences with masks, have they been investigated? The ones that one lawyer was killed 2 years ago with her pregnancy of twins, what happened to the policeman? The one who raped a lady inside the police station, what happened to him? So let's stop deceiving ourselves by saying they have done the right thing. There's no right thing about injustice. What they are just doing is normal drama that we are used to. And if we keep deceiving ourselves and expect that these same people who are unrepentant will do the right thing, then we're not ready about our future. Look at Nigerians jackbarring every day. It's not because they don't love this country. They are losing faith, not even in the present, in the future. And some of them are ready to go and wash bomb for their children. So we cannot continue. I don't have anywhere to go to. I don't even have the money to start facilitating Jackpa. So if I'm here in this country, it's my country. I should feel free. I should have human dignity in my country. How can you imagine children being shot at with life ammunition for asking that we want good governance? Charged to court for treason. Such a country should tell you that even your own News Central, this is News Central, your journalists were attacking Lagos on air. What did you do about it? What did the police do right about it? Did they charge those people to court? They are the ones who use the same hoodlums around us. So the only problem we've been having in this country since is one, ignorance, and two, fear. When people say they divide us with religion, ethnicity, and that, if we are knowledgeable enough, religion and the rest will not be our problem, because in the Senate House, in the National Assembly, Christian, Muslim, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, they all dwell there. They share SUVs without any problem. When people increase their constituency allowance, they forgot their party lines. They were all singing on your mandate we shall stand. What about us? We, these oppressed people, when we decide that we too want to be united, already our sufferings are uniting us. Look at hunger, look at fuel, look at groundnut oil. So we must come to that point where we, you, the media, the security agencies, the civilians, must realize that Nigeria's liberation has become a responsibility for us.
Now let me just cut you short here.
Yes.
Let me cut you short here. You made some demands. Can we get one or two of those demands?
We want, first of all, we must stop rewarding impunity. IGP Egbetoku should resign or be fired. The other PPRO, who is very, very unprofessional, should Ademuyiwa something jobby. He should be Prince Moyewan on Twitter. He should resign or be fired from that position. He's bringing serious disrepute to the Nigerian state. Then Omoyele Sowore should be released unconditionally and immediately and be apologized to, very importantly. So we want to send a very clear message to the government that it's not just about Sowore. Nigerians are tired. There are just a lot of them who are so scared. They don't want to die. They don't want to. But already, if you look at people who have died from banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism, it's more in just the last 3 months. It's more than the people who have died from protesting since 1960. So we keep not wanting to die, and we are dying. Rise up.
Okay, that's the much we can take from Rex, but we are not done here, because remember that I said earlier on that there were 2 cases here at the Federal High Court. We have our correspondent Joshua Imarayi inside the court monitoring the cases. The first case that I held was the End Bad Governance protesters. We are also going to speak to Comrade Ene Obi. A lot of Nigerians know her. She's an activist. She's an advocate for good governance. So let's get Ene Obi's thoughts on what has happened today. Good day, Ene. Good day, Ene.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you earlier on you expressed your displeasure at the arraignment of the End Bad Governance protesters, Michael Lenin and the rest. Can you just give us more details on that?
Today, January 29th is supposed to be their trial. The End Bad Governance protested. The protests that happened in August, they were held for weeks without trial. They have brought them and they are charging them for treason and mutiny. Can you tell me why Nigerians are asking for, for you to end your bad governance, the kind of the issue of fuel prices, the subsidy that you said you remove and so on and so forth. What are we crying about? You are saying there is fuel subsidy. You are a government. You have Ministry of Petroleum. There is the most important ministry in Nigeria because because of the economy. The economy is petroleum based or whatever you're talking about or whatever we are feeling, and it doesn't even have a minister. The president is a minister of petroleum. There is a minister of state, but do you know that the minister of state is unconstitutional in Nigeria? You ought not to. There is no constitution, no side of the constitution that says there should be a minister of state. And then we are having, and so there is a trial. So you have 4 refineries that ought to have been working. There is no refinery that is working. And you say there is subsidy. What is the subsidy for? The subsidy you are saying is you are taking the fuel out, the crude out, and you are refining and bringing it to Nigeria, and you are asking Nigerians to pay for it. Now you say we are producing it in Nigeria, and we still don't have respite. And so we are asking them to drop all the charges against them. Drop all the charges against the 11 Abuja people. 12 of our colleagues were in Kaduna. 12 of them were held for 10 weeks without trial. What are we doing in Nigeria? This is a democracy. We are calling on the government to be more sensitive. We are calling on them now. You heard people calling about, the kind of fraud that is going on, the corruption that is going on in the land, all the things that you are doing. All of these things we are saying, the government should do better for Nigerians. We need people who want to sacrifice as leaders for Nigeria, not the kind of government we are seeing with polluted, expenditure that we are having now. We are asking that you respect the rights of Nigerians to protest. Never a time that will they say Nigerians should go to the stadium to go and protest. Are we going for a game or what have you? We have the right as Nigerians to protest, and we will continue to protest. Tinubu himself was part of protest before, or was he pretending? And now we have him in government. People are protesting, and he's not respecting the rights of protesters. We want better government.
But the police has consistently said that they have acted right. They said that before the protest, they got a court judgment. They got a ruling from the court mandating the protesters to be confined to a particular area. And when they felt that some had breached these laid down laws, they took them to court. So their point is that they have acted right. What is your opinion on that?
How can you say the police have done right? Is it the freedom of association? Which court law, which law order will be against the Constitution of Nigeria? Is it constitutional for you to tell people not to protest? For you to go and get a court injunction that people should not protest, rather you go and restrict them? Is that not against the fundamental human rights of every citizen? And so has the police, have they done right? What happened in the National Stadium in Abuja, MKO Stadium in Abuja? They asked that protesters go there, and protesters even obeyed the order to go and stay there. And then you brought even truckloads of anti or pro-government workers to come and almost attack them. Is that acting right? Do Nigerians not have a right to go and protest? What we ask for is peaceful protest, no violence, but allow Nigerians to protest. But what are we protesting against? We are protesting against joblessness. We have a huge population of Nigerians that have no jobs. We have a huge population of Nigerians that they have dropped them from their working. We are churning out young people from, in the youth service, thousands of young people every day. We have qualified Nigerians who can do a lot of things. So where are we going to? The police cannot say that they're doing right, but we know we are being sent. Stop using, we are even asking the government, stop using the police fund. When we were at the National Stadium, they were supposed to have been bringing refreshment for them. They brought it only 2 days for the police. The rest of the days, they kept them hungry from morning to night. They are children of Nigerians.
Thank you, NLB. You have heard it from NLB, and you have heard it from other protesters who can go on and on, but earlier they have said that they are going to stay here to the end of the case. They say if their demands, chiefly which is that the police should release Omoyele Sowore, is not adhered to by the leadership of the Nigeria police force, that they will continue this protest and they will ensure that it goes around the country.
All right, Samadi, we thank you so much. There is a lot of details and context that we'll add now, but thank you for covering that. And I know that we'll be seeing you and Joshua Imaraye at 12 p.m. for News Central Now with the latest updates. Thank you. We'll talk again soon. All right, ladies, before we get into it, just for many people to be able to catch up on the situations that are happening, the Nigerian police have charged Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist, and the former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress with cyber crimes, and those were charges that were filed yesterday, Tuesday. He's expected to be arraigned in court today, Wednesday, on these charges. Now, a copy of the indictment contains about 17 counts of cyber crime offenses. The charges center around Sowore's description of the Inspector General of Police, that's Kayode Egbetokun, as an illegal, in quotation, illegal IGP in a video clip that Sowore shared on social media. Now, Mr. Egbetokun, who was expected to have exited service since he attained the statutory age of retirement of 60 years in September 2024, secured an extended stay in office following a controversial alteration of the Nigeria Police Act passed by the National Assembly and assented to by President Bola Tinubu. The charges against him, as I said, are also following under the Cyber Crime Prevention, Prohibition and Act of 2015 as amended in 2024. Now, there's also the case of, let me get that for you. There's also the case of Adaramoye Michael Lennon and other activists involved in the hashtag End Bad Governance protest. Now, they're facing prosecution for their part of the protest. Now, it's said, of course, that they're facing a number of charges, which include treason, mutiny, and terrorism, which are all crimes punishable by death in Nigeria. There are a number of them, I think about 11 End Bad Governance activists who are scheduled to appear before Justice Emeka Nwete of the Federal High Court in Abuja on trial, and that's also meant to happen today. So two very big, high-profile cases happening at the Federal High Courts in Abuja today. Those taking part in the protest outside of the court premises have said they're there in solidarity and to demand that the charges against Sowore, Lennon, and other activists also be dropped. And it means if they are found guilty, particularly in the Lennon situation, these individuals could find themselves being sentenced to death by a firing squad or hanged by their neck.
Wow, the context is so deep.
The context is quite necessary.
The issues are just so many. The End Bad Governance protesters were still talking about their case in the new year.
Yeah, but it's like using a sledgehammer to
just kill a fly.
It doesn't make any sense.
And I'm even thankful that we're able to remove the children from their clutches. At least those children that were released at first, before they became some other individuals. It was a controversial.
There were questions about that.
Yes, that day, because it was like, okay, are these the ones we saw in court? Are these the same ones that are walking out of court? We need this government to focus on the right thing. Whether they like it or not, there would always be those that will speak against their government. It's part of governing. There has to be some people that are pro, and there are people that are against.
I mean, there has to be checks and balances if you have a government, except you have a one-party state, or we're in fascism, or we have a dictator. Except we're just being radical about governance in Nigeria. But for the kind of government we practice, I think these checks and balances are needed. And I must commend the activists who are outside the courtroom now, because a lot of us, it's easy. We have that problem. We've talked about it here on the Jasiri table. We seem to move on easily. And that has been done. The August protest.
So much happens in Nigeria.
That's it. So to have people who are still being dogged to stand for solidarity, you have someone says you can't live life without having something to believe in. The guy said something. He said, "No, I don't have the money to even put together to Japa." This is my country, so I have to be part of what makes it work. And you see him, he cited cases that Nigerians can resonate with. So you're looking at it and asking, what we're asking for as a people, is it too much?
Yeah, it's not too much, it's a future. We're asking for a better future. That is what everybody is fighting for. If Nigeria is able to do better, for us, maybe our laws are better implemented, people are better treated, there's enough in the country. I doubt if there'll be a lot of pushback, but everybody is pushing back because the shoe is pinching them very tightly in some spaces.
Yeah. And some people cannot even afford shoes anymore to pinch.
What are you saying? Do you know how many people I know personally who have removed their children from one school? And this is about the third time.
Yeah.
Because they'll take them to a lower grade school. Yeah. When after some months they can no longer afford the lower grade school, they have to keep going lower and lower.
So that's the issue. How long will Nigerians continue to shift and shift and shift because of what the government is doing to the norm? No one says don't be there and do your politics, and we don't really care about that. We just care about the quality, the standard of living in the country. The average person, that's what the average person cares about. We're talking to someone in the makeup room one time. Lola, you were there, and she said, despite her travels, she's thankful that they haven't been able to take away the softness from her.
Yeah.
You see, so Nigerians are not soft anymore. In as much as we go, you see people, they gather at the taverns, they're laughing, they're just using that to distract themselves from the core reality that is fighting us on a daily basis. And this is just January. So many things have happened in this January. Yeah. We don't even know, and the year is just still starting. If you ask someone to pause it or think or plan or what do you see, how do you see the year unfolding, how do you think this year will be, no one can concretely say that, oh, I know that this is how it's going to be, because everybody is just playing it by ear.
And you're taking it day by day. And so in this particular instance, these two cases, I don't know if the clerks knew that they were sort of jamming together two very high-profile cases that were going to bring so much attention today, but I still want to separate them a little bit. There's the case of Omoyele Sowore and his comments, and the controversy that surrounded the extension of the IGP's tenure. An alteration approved by the National Assembly, assented to by the President. There's a conversation to be had there, because oftentimes we see people going on terminal leave before the expiration of their tenure. But this is January from a tenure that was meant to end in September. There's no conversation being made as to how long. I think it was inside the alteration as to how long the extension would be and what the next moves are. So there's that conversation. But I really want us to focus on the conversation surrounding Michael Lennon and the other activists and those who are in jail with him, because we've spoken oftentimes about the criminalization of protest. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Constitution guarantees the right of Nigerians to protest, to peaceful assembly, to association as they would like, and to be able to speak out against or for a government. Let's even say for as well. But what we often find is that once there is an against, that is where the focus is, that is where the heavy hand is, that is where the security agencies are used to dampen and to repress. And all of these do end up having an effect on not just the civic space, but even how citizens feel attached to their country. I need to be able to feel like I can tell you what I don't like, and you're going to be fine. But too many Nigerian leaders, not even just at the presidential level, but even across states, we've seen it. We still have this young lady in jail that we spoke to the Amnesty International, that we spoke to Dr. Issa. It escapes her. She's still facing a trial. She's still in court because of what she said about the governor, or what she alluded to about the governor. So we need to, one, are people, our leaders so thin-skinned you can't take criticism? Are you so also thin-skinned you are not aware of what the Constitution guarantees Nigerians? So these cases are a test. They're a test for the Tinubu administration. They're a test for our judicial system. They're a test for the police. And also they're a test for the Nigerian people as to how long people want to hold their resolves in certain situations.
I'm sure at the beginning of the tenure of our president, a lot of activists would have felt that because this man had walked our shoes before, he will probably understand.
Eno made mention of
that, but it seems not to be happening. And I just wonder that, is there something on the seats of power in this country that just make people, douse their humanity a little, that they no longer feel, or the enormity of the challenges of the presidency? you know, just derails them. That sometimes I feel as if we're on roller skates, like someone that does not know how to ice skate.
Yes.
It's wearing roller skates.
Yeah.
And you're on the ice rink and you're just all over the places, falling, no control, no nothing. Because if you continue like this, a lot of things will not work as it should.
No,
anytime there's a small, anytime
we've been somehow
pushback,
working.
Yes,
I think that's what it is.
No, but to me, I feel as if this working, we have been deceiving ourselves over the year, is grounded to a stop at so many places. Because is it until Nigeria breaks in the center and everybody sees it like, okay, this is the crack.
Most likely,
then
that's always.
Maybe that is when everybody will know that all these little fights that we're fighting on the side is serious.
That's
big fight.
That's what we need. I think for us as a people, that's the kind of radicality that can just steamroll us into action. One of the people Ahmadine spoke to was saying that, funnily and ironically enough, something as weird as this is uniting us. You know, it's the suffering, it's the violence, it's the not being treated
going
properly.
beyond ethnicity, religion,
beyond
region,
that.
because we're all hungry. Nobody is hungrier than anybody.
Yeah,
we're all hungry. We're all paying high costs. We're all paying for food. We're all worried about our kids going to school. Guys, we need hope. Today is a day of lives because there's so many events happening. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, the conversation focuses on the Lake Chad region of Nigeria as well as the Lake Chad region of the continent. We'll be going to, let me not give you the wrong states. We'll be going and joining our correspondent, Umar Karawa, and getting the latest. Stay with us. We were expecting to have News Central correspondent Umaru Kariwa join us, but he had joined during the news, and we know he'll be joining again later on in the day. What is he doing? Well, he's covering the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum, which is taking place in Borno State. Now, the forum is to tackle regional security issues, and 8 governors from Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, and the Republic of Niger are gathered in Borno State in northeastern Nigeria to address pressing security challenges and explore solutions for stability in the Lake Chad region. Now, around that, we know that Vice President Kashim Shettima and some of the governors as well are already inside the premises of the event. We hope to be taking that soon. This is live right now coming to you. You can see Vice President Kashim Shettima there when he speaks, and the governors as well will be coming to you live with that. But for me, it's quite interesting because when I was doing a environmental show on radio, I like to pat myself on the back. That was the actual first environmental show on radio anywhere in Nigeria. The issue of Lake Chad came up, and in the past several years, I think the past 50 years, Lake Chad, which was an absolute marvelous marvel of God's wonder, a natural, whatever, a lake had shrunk to 25% of its size. It was no longer able to provide as much water to the countries that use it. It was not able to provide fishing resources, and a lot of people connected to the issues around insecurity and why several young, I guess maybe not young men, but at least people in the region who are destabilized because of the issues in which they can no longer fish and they can no longer make their livelihoods from Lake Chad, have unfortunately found themselves embracing the hand that certain terrorist organizations have been extending to them.
So on this Lake Chad Basin Basin Governors Forum, it's interesting to see a cross-section of all the governors, and Africans coming under the African umbrella to say
the African Union.
African Union. I'm just wondering, this Lake Chad thing, we've been bouncing it up and down for so long. When are we ever? At first, it was about the habitation. I think Itagiwa pushed. Was it the one she was fighting for at that time? Well, no, that was Bakassi. That was Nisula. But this Lake Chad Basin, what are we going to do to it eventually?
Mine is that if we can come together more as Africans, there's so much we can do together. But like I say, it's lovely to see when you see representatives from other countries or within Africa, you see how we gather together. Someone will say, oh, you're just speaking English, you're speaking. No, but guys,
a lot of Nigerians do not even know the relevance of this Lake Chad to us.
Which is a very vital issue. Because as I went to go and check it again, Lake Chad was at one time the 6th largest lake in the world and has now shrunk to 1/10 of its size from 35 years ago. So it went from 25,000 square kilometers in the 1960s to just 500 square kilometers now. And it's because of climate change. So when you have people who deny climate change, and the climate change is because of human-induced activities, when you have people who deny the impact of climate change on our societies, on our livelihoods. Lake Chad is just one example. You say, can you please go and check the statistics of Lake Chad? It's also affected a lot of people. You're now seeing a lot more rural to urban migration coming from the Lake Chad Basin area because people don't have what keeps food on their tables anymore, what provides for them and their children. They're looking for other sources. So you're seeing a jamming when it comes to the urban areas. You're seeing the urban migration issues. You're seeing security issues because they're now susceptible to joining terrorist organizations. Lake Chad has to be fixed. But this is number 5. In the first 5 years that they've done this, what has happened?
You know, it's a conversation that will continue to occur. I can actually hear some Nigerians say, I take concern. What does Lake Chad do for me? At this point, I'm demanding, what does it do for me? But whether we like it or not, there are some parts of nature that are parts of us. You can't, there's nothing you can do about it. You might not be a nature person, but everything in Nigeria, we are so blessed, you have no idea how blessed we are. I tell people, when you go and visit other countries, when you visit other climes, it's when you realize that, Jesus, we have everything here. But what then seems not to be working for us? Listen, Jasiri will come your way again tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I said, listen, I'm not interested in that. Thank you so much for being part of the show for today. From the ladies of Jasiri, we say thank you for being a part of the show. We'll see you.
Catherine, you didn't do it well. Tomorrow. We're taking on polygamy.
It's because they say we have to.
And we have 2 hot and fiery guests who are coming to talk to us about polygamy in Africa. If you missed that show, it's not me that will tell you about it.
Polygamy.
That has
Let us all be co-wives and suffer together.
As we leave now, we leave you with visuals from the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum. Do stay with us here on News Central.